Alright, it's time for round 4 of watching 5 anime that MyAnimeList recommends to me. So whatever they recommend to me, based off my my likes and what I've rated, I have to pick 5 shows. So the first one I picked is Dorohedoro. It is 2 in the morning, and I watched all of it. A testament to how fucking great this show is. So my history with this show is, I watched it years ago, the first 7 episodes or so. And I really enjoyed it, but then I got sidetracked. I never finished it. And it was one of those shows that I'd always meant to finish. And so when I saw MyAnimeList recommending it, I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'll just start from episode 8. And I watched episode 8 and 9. I really enjoyed them, and I was like, oh, but I don't remember every single thing that happened. Uncharacteristically of me, I was like, I'm gonna start from the beginning and just watch 1 through 7 again. And it went by like it was a breezy watch. Like this show. So for those who don't know what it's about, it is about this lizard man named Kaimon. There are sorcerers who live in this different society, and then Hole is kind of like the poorer city where the humans live. And the sorcerers like experiment on the humans. The humans have this resentment towards the sorcerers. And Kaimon actually used to be a human who was turned into a lizard man by a sorcerer. And so what he does is he and his friend Nikaido, they go around finding sorcerers. He bites their heads and they go inside his mouth. And there's a man inside of him who asks them, are you the one who did this to me? There's that whole thing. And then there's this sort of sorcerer mafia run by this guy named N, who's awesome. And they're basically trying to hunt Kaimon down because he's killing all these sorcerers. It is extremely entertaining. It's extremely gory and violent, and yet it retains a sense of just sheer fun throughout the whole show, which is not a small feat. I mean, yeah, there are parts that are pretty grim and serious, but I don't know. To me, it is just fun and engaging, and just it never loses its sense of humor throughout the entire thing. It's never too grim dark or whatever, despite its setting and events being quite dark. There's still plenty of room for fun and comedy. The characters are all very likable, even the bad guys. My favorite characters are Shin and Noi. They're this sort of assassin duo who work for N, and they're amazing. Yeah, they're always trying to kill Kaimon, but N and his crew are really just likable characters. Do they do good things? No, not all the time, but just the way they interact with each other, and it's almost like a workplace sitcom sometimes. It's just such a masterful balance of comedy and kind of horror and action. It just balances all these things so deftly. I'm just extremely impressed by it. The CG animation in this, because it's primarily CGI, is amazing. It looks great. In past videos, I've talked about my thoughts on is all CG in anime bad? And this is a show that really shows you, man, CG in anime can look incredible. Really love the character designs. They all wear these very interesting masks. The world building is really fun and detailed and very creative and just dark and weird. I just really think this show is fantastic, and thankfully season 2 is coming next year, so I'm excited for that. I'm glad I kind of caught up now so that I don't have to wait too long for season 2. Just a very likable cast of characters, really fun world. It's just, a masterful blend of genres. I highly recommend it. Very good start to this video. Alright, anime number 2 is Ashita no Jo. This is a boxing anime from the 70s. It worked out because I've actually been watching this one already, here and there, usually when I've been, working out or whatever. It's a good workout show. I had about 11 episodes left of the first 54. I'm choosing to not watch the rest of it because Ashita no Jo 2 covers that stuff. From what I've heard, it repeats the material. From what I can understand, the rest of this season, or the last 24 episodes, are kind of some filler mixed, like, and it diverges from the manga, and it kind of rehashes stuff. Anyway, so I'm stopping here. But it's about this guy named Joe. He's just this kid from the slums, big troublemaker, but he's got this sort of like knack for boxing. This coach who's like desperate to try to get him to become a boxer. It's an interesting show. I mean, for me, it's hard to not compare it to stuff that came later. Like for me, Hajime no Ippo is an anime that I love a lot. And Ashita no Joe, obviously it's very important. And I want to sit here and be like, oh, it's just as good as Hajime no Ippo. No, I don't think so. At least not yet. I hear Ashita no Joe 2, which was actually made like 10 years later, is really, really good. So I'm looking forward to watching that. But this stuff that was in the 70s, first off, Joe himself is a very challenging protagonist. Intentionally so. But he's he's not a very pleasant person. He's just always hot-headed and making bad decisions, and whenever anyone tells him, hey Joe, maybe don't do that, he just does it. It's for me, I get it, you know, but I watched like 50 episodes of this, and he doesn't change a lot. He kind of just is this hot-headed shithead who just makes bad decisions and is self-destructive. I would find more compelling if I could feel growth, and there's a little bit, but not really. Now, I'm assuming that Ashita no Joe 2 is where he's gonna hopefully develop, but for these 54 episodes I watched, he doesn't mature that much, so that's unfortunate. Also, like, here's the thing, when they're boxing, the show is pretty fucking great. But there's surprisingly way less boxing in this boxing anime than I thought there was gonna be. But let's talk about the boxing. Like, even though, you know, the limitations of the time are there, man, certain drawings in this, certain shots, certain color choices, the music, it hits. Pun intended. It really is like, whoa, this is an impact. It was of that era. The way they draw it, the way they present it, it's just like, bam. It does have that timeless quality of like, it still impacts you now. When they actually get to box, I'm like, shit, I was way more interested in the show. But a lot of the show, there are these like 5 kid characters in the slums, and they get a lot of screen time, and they're always doing little antics, little funny. I don't even hate these kids, but they just take up a lot of time. A lot of time. They're always just doing their little hijinks, and I don't need that much of that in this show. There's also, I guess, minor spoilers. Joe does some shit, and he gets sent to a prison, basically. And he's in that prison for a long time. Now, it's important that he goes there for the plot, but I think where I'm just getting at is that the pacing of this show, it's a little slow. It's a little slow. Some episodes, it really doesn't feel like it progresses much at all. I still enjoyed it. I still like the show overall, and I think it's definitely worth watching, especially if you want to see the, you know, like a boxing anime back then, you know, comparing it to stuff that's made now. Like, I like it for its historical stuff, and those boxing scenes. It has a certain just retro charm, right? So I did enjoy the show, but if this show were like half the length, I would like it a lot more. But it's kind of long, kind of drags. So anyway, if you love boxing anime like me, then it is worth a watch. If you're not, I don't know if I can really recommend it, but it's good. I'm looking forward to Ashita no Joe 2, though. I hear that's where it gets really good, and I'm pretty excited for that. The third anime I chose is Detroit Metal City. This is a show from like 2008. Very mild-mannered guy who is secretly the leader of this death metal group. and they're very vulgar, and oh, you know, haha, get it, he's really shy and he wants to do like sweet little ballads, but instead he's this horrible death metal guy. Which is actually not a bad premise. Like, I had known about this show for a long time. I mean, since it came out, like, I had always heard, oh man, it's like one of the funniest comedies ever. And maybe if I had seen this in 2008, I don't know, but wow, this has aged like sour, spoiled milk for me. The joke, it's a one-trick pony, is that, oh, I'm the shy guy, but then, oh man, but then I go out of control as the death metal guy. They say the word rape, I'm not exaggerating, over 100 times, and it's not particularly funny, and that's just kind of the joke, is that it's very, oh man, isn't, you know, he just keeps saying it. It's just tiresome. I really, yeah, it's not. There's a manager who swears and says swear words in English. It's kind of funny the first time. It really isn't that funny after 12 episodes. And they're not long. They're like 14-minute episodes, if that. He treats women horribly. That's the joke. You know, it's like, oh man, he goes out of control and then he assaults a woman. Isn't that really funny? No, I don't think so. With that said, I mean, there's like funny moments. I'm not saying that it's never funny ever. My favorite episode is one where he goes to visit his mom, and his brother, turns out he's like obsessed with the death metal band, and he's become like this shithead. And so the guy, he adopts the persona to like sort of reverse psychology, teach his younger brother manners and good habits and stuff. And it's one of the ones that is probably the most entertaining, because it's a different thing than just, oh man, I'm mild-mannered, but then I start saying horrible things and doing horrible things. It's just shock value, and it's not clever. It's just, like, just because you scream horrible things and do horrible things, it's not inherently funny. This was a real chore to get through. Has aged really poorly. I can't recommend it at all. Not my favorite. I really did not care for this one. And also the main character is like, yeah, he's this mild-mannered kid, but he's also like got like weird jealous incel vibes. Like, he like sees if the girl he likes is interested in another guy, then he turns into the death metal guy, and he's just screaming misogynist stuff. Aha, get it? It's funny because it's so horrible. No, it's not. This show's not very funny. Alright, the fourth anime I chose is Konosuba, the first season. So, I had never seen this before. I knew it was a comedy, like an isekai thing, but I actually really enjoyed this show. And I'm not really a big isekai guy. I think for me, it's just really funny. It's just about this guy who dies in a really goofy-ass way. He gets isekai'd to a fantasy world, and then he meets this goddess, and she's like, you can pick one thing to take into the world, and he goes, I choose you, and forces her to come with him to this fantasy world, and they're just a bunch of bums who are just trying to, like, make it, get odd jobs and quests and whatever. So I think what works for me is that it's not like a power fantasy, power trip, you know, those things are just not very interesting to me. It's just a comedy about these goobers. The main character, Kazuma, usually the guy character in these shows is like my least favorite part. He's really fucking funny. And Aqua, the goddess, she's also just like this pathetic crybaby gremlin. The seiyuu performances for these two characters is so funny. I think Kazuma is like the perfect straight man. Like, he is surrounded by these just absolute goobers. There's this girl named Megumin who does explosion magic, and she's a chunibyo. And then there's Darkness, who is a masochist knight. She's a lot. So he's always kind of like the voice of reason and just like the reacting to their antics. He is kind of a horn dog, but actually not that much, which is nice. Again, it's just really, the performance is really funny. And the timing of his jokes is also quite good. Aqua, like I mentioned, It's hysterical whenever she just cries and is just like pathetically pleading. That performance is top notch. You know, even the animation of the show is not that good, but it somehow contributes to the comedy. There's some really just goofy faces, and it's a show where the animation quality is not even a factor for me at all. I think it's just the acting, the writing, the timing, the situations they're always in. They're always just struggling to get by, doing these quests or whatever, and it's always blowing up in their faces. And yet the characters, like, you can tell that they also like hanging out with each other, even though, you know, they're all a bunch of morons. It's a fun party dynamic. So yeah, I was really surprised by this one. You know, I guess just it's not a genre I usually choose, but the comedy really lands for me, and the acting is top notch. So I will definitely watch more in the future. I really enjoyed this one. The final anime I chose for this is Terror in Resonance. This is a Shinichiro Watanabe anime. It's one I knew the least about of his work. It is about these two boys, high school boys, who do these terrorist bombings, and they leave clues for this detective to, you know, find the bombs, and then there's like a whole reason why they're doing these bombings. So it's like this kind of mystery thriller, and it is fine. I was very underwhelmed by it all. It's got a Yoko Kanno soundtrack, and that's great, but I truly didn't really care about what was going on. I think the characters are not interesting. I never felt anything for really any of them. I kind of like the detective, but again, it's a very dry show. Mysteries and the cat and mouse clues are not that interesting. The motivation that we find out, like the whole mystery and stuff behind all of it, is also not very interesting. I really wasn't into this, which was surprising to me because it's, you know, Shinichiro Watanabe, but just a really kind of boring show. Even though a lot of things were happening, I never was very attached to what was going on. Can't really recommend it. Definitely my least favorite of his works that I've seen. Alright, that was 5 anime recommended to me by MyAnimeList. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, comment, share it, because I don't think the other anime video I did recently did too well, and I would love to do more videos like this, but it really just depends on those views, baby. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.